In case any of you guys are wondering, yes, I do have a shiner, and it's from my baby boy. I hope your guys' week has gone well. I know I've been gone for the past week. I was on vacation, had a little nice vacay, went over to Monterey, went to Yosemite. It was actually really fun. My wife and I, we went to go celebrate our son's first birthday with friends and family. It's actually quite surprising sometimes to think that you can be in one part of the state and having fun on the beach, and then within, less than 24 hours, you could find yourself in the snow. Another thing that we actually did, my wife and I are looking into a second property, so we went out and did some scoping. So fingers crossed that something pans out. But yeah, that's just kind of where we've been this past week. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I have like a little shiner right here. I was playing with my baby and he went boom, and so I didn't want to hit my nose, and so I went like this and just clocked me. And as we were doing our travels and everything, it's pretty embarrassing because I had this is actually, it looks way better than what it was. Like throughout the past week, it really looked like I just got out of the ring. So in case any of you guys are wondering, yes, I do have a shiner, and it's from my baby boy. Yeah, so he's just being an awesome son. I know the past week in the market has been kind of like a roller coaster in regard to how price action has been. Not surprising. Like I said last week, or in the last video, I foresee this kind of lasting maybe 6 to 8 weeks of just a lot of if, ands, or buts regarding the Ukraine and Russia situation. Personally, I'm not an expert on foreign policy. I think I'd be doing all you guys a disservice to pretend that I've been able to educate myself on the ins and outs of all the foreign policy amongst ourselves, or even pretend like I know everything about NATO or SWIFT or all the little nuances between Russia and Ukraine. From a shareholder standpoint, these political things do matter because, as you can see, if you have been paying attention to the market, it will influence price action. But in regard for me personally, be careful as a stock investor. Be careful for the things that can play on your emotion and therefore maybe influence you in making a wrong decision, especially as we start hearing chatter regarding nuclear and World War III. And the chatter's already starting with the Taiwan and China thing. And are you ready to bear arms? Just slow it down a little bit. Take in perspective everything that's going on, and ultimately my only advice, not financial advice, what I would do, what I am doing is I'm hearing all the information that's being presented to me, but ultimately just trying to see how it influences the stock market, how it's influencing the sectors that I'm most interested in, and ultimately, will this present an opportunity as an investor into making a bigger splash in some of my plays, and realizing that as we are here, don't be naive to the fact that we do have a global market regarding how we get some things. And like I've told you before, I foresee this issue to have a pretty big influence on gas, definitely a big influence on oil. So just want to keep that in mind. Okay, well, with regard to some things that we want to keep in mind for this upcoming week, definitely has to be with earnings. After close day, we have Zoom, we have Workday. Tomorrow before the open, we will have Target, Domino's. Domino's is super high, but you want to pay attention to Domino's. Some things that I will be looking at later on this week will be Costco. I will definitely be checking out Dollar Tree, ChargePoint, and more importantly, what I will be looking at tomorrow, Bngos, also known as Bionanogenomics. They will be reporting tomorrow after the bell. So again, as a Bngo shareholder, what I will be checking out, I will be focusing on guidance, because I just think in our market right now, we need to have strong numbers, strong EPS, and revenue. If as an optimist, if there's a beat with the EPS, revenue, and with what they say in regard to guidance, I wouldn't be surprised to see a considerable increase to the north with the price action regarding Bngo. So for all you Bngo shareholders tomorrow, it should be interesting to see. Usually we kind of have buy the rumor, sell the news when it comes to earning reports, or just earnings in general. But I think with the Ukraine-Russia situation, I think that's kind of gone out the side for this round. Let me know in the comments below if you think Russia-Ukraine situation has played an impact on buy the rumor, sell the news with some of these earnings, because that's why I always pay attention to all kinds of earnings, just to see how they're moving, not only on the day that they report, but as time is leading up to the report. So little tidbit for all you guys out there that are new to the market, I would definitely suggest just checking out, doing your due diligence by paying attention to how other companies move, because buying the rumor and selling the news is a really big thing when it comes to earnings. Again, like I've always told you, I never play earnings one way or the other. For my high conviction plays, I always just buy. But again, that's just something that I will be looking for as a Bngo shareholder tomorrow. More importantly, what I will be checking out as a Bngo shareholder is what they say in regard to their Sapphire sales and deliveries. A few weeks back, I had showed you some images of some of the Sapphire systems being ready for delivery. So we'd love to hear kind of where are they going and just exactly how many have been delivered. Okay, and as you can see, another company that will be reporting tomorrow after hours will be Dutch Brothers. My cousin loves Dutch Brothers so much, he buys Dutch Brothers every day. And so him and I have an agreement. I usually buy Dutch Brothers, but I buy the shares and he buys the coffee. And we just kind of have this running joke that every time he buys, I buy. So just for fun, that's the company that I invest in, just to support my cousin and his favorite vice, I guess you can say. But the company is doing well, and I do anticipate to see some good earnings tomorrow as well for them. But yeah, so the company is doing fine. They just recently began trading publicly, so love to kind of get an idea of what their guidance is like and where they see themselves in regard to growing, because oh man, I remember when Dutch Brothers was just a franchise near my university, and we only had like one, and now there's like two down the street, and within the three neighboring cities, there's about, I think, like 4 or 5. The growth has been exponential. So again, for all you coffee lovers out there, check out Dutch Brothers and those numbers, and if you don't, well, don't worry. On Wednesday, I will let you know exactly how they reported and show you some of that price action if you guys are interested in some coffee. So let's just kind of jump into the market price action today, just like how the market was doing today. Kind of started super high, and then it dropped. I don't know if any of you guys noticed that. And then we started picking up towards the tail end of the day. Some of our favorite chip companies, they were all up today marginally. Like I keep telling you, keep chips in mind with regard to the Taiwan Chinese situation. We don't want a situation, but again, I'd rather be prepared than surprised. Okay, moving forward into our fintech space. Fintech today, as you can see, up pretty considerably. Affirm was up just under 7%, SoFi up 7.31%, PayPal up just under 1%, and Robinhood up 3.45%. Palantir up 3.31%. It was actually up a little bit, considerably higher during an intraday session. So that was exciting to see. NNDM also up. NNDM will be reporting soon. So that might be one of the ones that we want to keep in mind, and just be mindful for buying the rumor and selling the news with NNDM as they get closer to earnings. Going into genomics space. Genomics were up as well today, pretty much across the board besides Illumina. Some of our favorites. Bngo was, again, another one that was up much higher in the middle of the day, but ended around just under 2%. PacBio up 5%, CRISPR up 2.75%, 23andMe up almost 6%, Beam up 4.82%, and Editas up 1.30%. All right, and like always gotta check Mount Fang. Basically for Mount Fang today, as you can see here, not that much really going on. The only thing that we really do see is that Tesla was up 7.48%. And as you probably saw across the board today, tech and EV stocks soared tremendously as the market sentiment kind of shifted away from the Russian energy dependence. So pay attention to that. If you guys want me to, what I'll do tomorrow is probably just do a group sector check over on some big EV plays, including NIO, Lucid, Tesla, Rivian, and one of our favorites, Abml. The American Battery Technology Company announces 2022 board of directors slate, including 4 new independent directors. These 4 nominees are Elizabeth Lowry, Sharif Marakbi, Richard Fezel, and Julie Blunden, and they are all anticipated to join the board. These new directors add significant ESG leadership credentials and automotive OEM industry experience, as well as deep expertise in financial reporting and risk management and in scaling rapidly growing emerging energy companies through market expansions and customer acquisition. What's exciting about these 4 new board members is that they all have a great track record. They have their track record with experience working with Ford, Uber, Bngo, and Volvo. So again, just love to see the team growing. Not only have we been seeing plant being built, we've seen expansion, now we're seeing the new board members. And this brings me to my next point that I found an interesting article over the weekend. Biden bets on US battery independence. Reports released this week about supply chain shortfalls focus on building a domestic battery industry with the help of billions in government funding. You know, we touched on this a little bit last week, but this report just came out a few days ago, so I thought it'd be interesting to keep this in mind. As we know, with ABML, it's still in the OTC market. They are navigating and trying to pursue the uplist opportunity, so to get out of the OTC market and just start solidifying institutional buying. When that happens, that'll be very exciting, but as a long-term investor, I wouldn't anticipate that to happen overnight. From my experience, once you start hearing word of uplist, oh my gosh, things are just gonna, oh my God, to the moon. Be careful, have a plan, be mindful for how you're gonna enter and start your position and solidify your position. Again, remember, like I had told you guys regarding ALPP, you can play it 2 ways. You can build a long-term position, but if you're gonna play it for the uplist, you know, maybe go get enough shares in so that if you're going to get an uplist bounce or an uplist trade, that when you do take out some of your equity, that you still have a pretty sizable position. Because in my humble opinion, not financial advice, the recycling of lithium batteries will be quite, I think it's going to be quite lucrative in the near future, especially as we start gearing towards paying attention to EV rather than other forms of energy, especially with regard to how for fuel in the transportation space. Okay, so as you see here, in a few months, the Department of Energy will begin the process of doling out $6 billion in grants for battery production, with about half of that earmarked for domestic supplies of materials and battery recycling. And remember, we want to limit our dependency on what we get from out of this country, because as you've been seeing, as other things are happening worldwide, they have a great effect on the supply chain here. So if we can kind of keep some of our prized possessions, such as lithium, cobalt, things that can help move the EV wave even further. Pretty excited with hearing the news regarding how they're going to dole out some of this funding back from the infrastructure bill. Battery executives are lining up, including Ryan Malsert, a former Tesla executive who is now the chief executive officer of American Battery Technology, a Nevada startup focused on both mining and recycling battery metals. Malsert, who helped design Tesla's Gigafactory in Nevada, believes he figured out a way to process metals that's both cleaner and more efficient than what's typically done in China. Malsert says it'll be a few years before there are enough old EVs on the road to feed his recycling plant. In the meantime, he's relying on consumer electronics, scrap from battery plants, and EVs recalled for battery fire risk. We keep seeing very large mass recalls of electric vehicles, hundreds of thousands of vehicles at a time, he said. So recalls play a large part right now in the defects in manufacturing waste. He's already won a Department of Energy grant for a project with General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis to demonstrate his company can take the automaker's old battery packs, recycle them, and convert them to cathode materials for new cells. And again, remember, a lot of the lithium is coming from China. So once we get that over here and get these plants going, there's also redwood materials that is going to be pretty big in the battery space. If you guys are interested in hearing more about some of the EV recycling leaders or some of the recycling leaders for battery or for lithium batteries, please let me know in the comments. I'll definitely make a little video or just start including that in our sector so we can just start seeing how that sector is moving as time goes on, as we start getting closer to those funds being doled out. Again, as an ABL shareholder, hearing this news along with the directors, the plants, the growth, just super, super exciting times right now as an Abml shareholder, especially if you've been here for the long haul. It's been rough these past couple years, but I hope all of you guys just continue to build your position and just be patient, because look, Tesla just built another gigafactory in Berlin. It's just going to be a matter of time that we hear Ford and GM start building out new plants or just putting full dedication to only EVs. And where are they going to get the batteries, right? Where are they going to get it? So again, I'm very excited to see what happens with that. Very excited to see what happens with Bngo's earnings tomorrow. I do anticipate some good news, but like always, not banking on good news, always being prepared for something to go awry. And if anything, if the price drops, again, always as a long-term investor, just look at it as a sales opportunity and keep in mind what makes sense to you in your pockets on what you can shell out. I hope that you guys were able to get some good information from this video. Look out for my video tomorrow. I'll be reviewing a little more thoroughly what Bngo reports. Thank you. I'll do a quick review of Dutch Brothers tomorrow. I'll do a little more thorough review regarding Bngo. And if there's any updates regarding some of our favorites, including Palantir, NNDM, some of the EV plays that we just discussed, I will also bring that up tomorrow. But like always, I hope you guys are enjoying your day. And more importantly, I'll see you mañana.